Whoa, it's Friday. Welcome to the Team Superdad wrap up. We're here, as always, to celebrate the end of our week, to talk some nonsense, maybe topical, maybe some stuff from our life, maybe stuff we've made up to fill the show with hilarity and goodwill. But whatever your week has been like, and mine has been some highs and lows, as we will get into, but you're in the right place. We're going to have some laughs. We're going to have some drinks. And we'll tell you all about it after this.
Welcome to Team Super Dad. Real dads creating their best lives ever. More time, more money, more fun. You are not alone. You're on Team Super Dad.
Hey, welcome to the Team Super Dad wrap up. If you've not joined us before, then you are glad to be here. First timers, pop in your wrap up cherry tonight. And if you're a regular listener, watcher, subscriber, then it's great to have you back. Always, it's nice to feel that people come back, isn't it? It's like you've done something good.
Yeah, we're like athlete's foot. You know, once you've got us, you just can't get rid of us.
Itchy little fuckers. Thankfully,
I did notice as I was doing that, because as the wonderful funky music was going on, I was looking at a different screen, and we went on screen, I noticed that I did that, and I felt like Ron Burgundy or something.
Hey. What does he say?
Go in, San Diego.
Oh yeah, good. I love that film. Oh, we should. You know, they've turned off watch parties on Facebook, so you can't like get people. Not that I ever really did that, but I can't believe they haven't worked out some way that you can watch things together. You know,
like on a big screen where you all kind of turn up at the same time. Maybe they could sell like food and snacks as well.
Yeah. Put seats in.
I have done that. I've done not the cinema thing, but I have done watch along dates before, where you've not been in the same place at the same time, but you wanted to spend time together. So you basically, we did it so we were both watching the same movie. But trouble is, she was watching it on Sky, I was watching it on Netflix, and they were the wrong version. They were different versions. So every now and then, I'd have to pause it while she caught up, and then she'd have there'd be like different timings. There'd be extra scenes in one and not in another, and it was a nightmare. Basically, what I'm saying is it's not worth dating because the logistics are too much. I think you should just give up now.
Well, I've got updates for you on that front in a minute, Glenn. Do you know on airplanes they used to do that? Cut out, like, you know, get a movie on an airplane.
Mm-hmm.
All the days of built-in in back of the seat stuff. Things our kids won't ever know about. But they would do plain versions of movies. And then
I thought they still did, but whenever I've been on obviously not last year but before, they'll say, right, you got the screen in front of you, haven't you? But they'll say, like, yeah, be aware this movie has like adult scenes. Now, if I'm sitting here and there's some random kid sitting next to me, what am I supposed to do? Excuse me. Am I supposed to kind of like put a blanket over the screen so he can't see? He might not be able to hear it, but if there's boobs, you're damn right he's going to be watching it.
Yeah, like a discretionary, not a discretionary, like God, I can't think of the word. A decency flap.
Yes, yeah, exactly that. That's what we need. Some sort of decency flap.
A decency flap. Well, I told you when I first discovered Brockmire.
Mm-hmm.
But as the show rolled in the back of my seat on a Virgin Atlantic plane, it said, "Please be considerate to people around you. This program contains sex, violence, drugs, and nudity." I was like,
as does every good flight, I gotta say.
Yeah, left foot, right foot header, brilliant. So, how's your week been, Glenn? How's your week been?
It's had its ups and downs. It's been, I mean, overall, it's been good. It's been another busy one, but you know, I'm sick and tired of saying it's busy. Everyone's busy. You know, can you remember a time when you weren't busy? Thought we've done some good things at work, but got a bit of a knock today when someone I wanted to get a job, and I'd kind of put myself on the line a bit to get them a bloody good offer to come and work with me, and made sure they got the offer. And they've turned us down, which is a real shame. So I'm gutted about that. And also on a kind of a non-work front as well. I've basically had to stand up to it. I've gone full Harry Potter, was it who's the one in Harry Potter #1 where he stands up to his friends, the fat kid who ends up killing Voldemort?
Oh, I'm not very good at Harry Potter. I know the Weasleys were their friends.
Yeah, whoever the kid was in #1 that stood up. I've had to stand up to a friend this week. They've for the past year or maybe longer, they've just been getting more and more and more kind of self-absorbed and kind of fatalistic and negative and aggressive and spiteful to their friends around them. And I've had to say, enough's enough. I'm not going to enable this anymore. And they've really gone off on one but I think friends don't let friends like continue in that way. Friends don't enable their friends to be doing the bad things. And so at some point, you've got to draw a line in the sand and say, no more. I'm not going to be part of that. So it's been a tough week in some ways. But
do you think the friendship is going to be over because of that, or do you think?
I don't. I've said to him that I don't think you're terrible. I think how you've acted is terrible, but I don't think you're terrible. And I want you to get better. I've been there for so long, really tough times. And I know things are bad, but I'm not just going to sit here and tell you all the things you want to hear, that you're making all the right decisions when you're making the wrong decisions. I'll be here for you when you're ready. When you're ready to come out of this, then I'll be there for you. But until then, I just don't want any part of it.
Oh, Glenn, I respect
so we'll see how long that takes.
No, I respect that. That's, and I don't mean that just like, oh yeah, well done, mate. That's brilliant. It takes a lot to. Well, I tell you what, it doesn't take a lot to do. It doesn't take much to step over that sort of stuff, and most people generally do. And the thing is, the taste is still left there. The friendship is tainted by having thought it and not said it. Yeah. It's just you kept it in. It's like swallowing the poison and waiting for someone else to die. You stood up for what you believe, values. If you don't, I've been writing an ebook this week, part of the Hero Academy and that program. Which is the paid part of Team Superdad, and purpose is the #1. It's called the Power Code. So purpose, ownership, work, execute, reward, and inside of purpose is values. Mm-hmm. And if we're experiencing life as this isn't as much fun as I want it to be, I don't feel quite as good about this as I hope to, then the place where we can go to look is our values and purpose. Because if we're not living those in everything we do and saying who we hang out with, then somewhere along the line, it's just that the zest for life just starts to fade away. So, you probably weren't thinking about all that when you did it. You were just, I know what you're like. I've started to get to know you quite well now. You are a man of values, and you're like, you don't like it when people cross that. I respect that massively.
Cheers, man. Yeah, it's tough. I would want some. It's a harsh truth, and the hardest thing is to kind of say honest things that are going to hurt someone, but it's for their own good. But sometimes you just got to do that. And I desperately hope that they'll listen. I don't think they're ready to listen now. I think they're still lashing out, and they're still being aggressive, and still in an angry place, and a kind of a victim place as well, of it's all everybody else's fault. And yes, some of it, other people have done bad things, but the way they've instigated, and secondly, the way they've dealt with it, I think are wrong. And while they're in a space of it's everybody else's fault, then they're in a space where everybody else are the people who've got to fix it. Whereas I think they've got to take some ownership of their own actions, their own attitudes, their own mindset, and own that, and acknowledge that they did some wrong things and they've acted in ways that they're not going to look back on in pride and think, okay, how can I have done this? How should I have done it differently? And how can I do it differently in future? And to make it right. They've upset a lot of people and don't acknowledge any of the blame. And that, in my mind, if you stab someone, you can't fix it by putting a sticking plaster over the top. You've got to go a bit deeper to heal that wound. And so if they really want to make it right with a fair few people, they've got to really think about how they can make it right and heal that deep wound, without just thinking, if they just say, oh, yeah, well, times have been tough at the minute, you should just be there for me as a friend. No, that's not good enough.
Yeah. Well, and that's about blame, isn't it? You can't, all the time you're blaming other people. You are not being responsible for your own actions. And what my experience of blame is that it allows you, when you're blaming other people for things, it allows you to be really angry and right about everything except what done or could be responsible for. And I think it's only when people pull that blame back that they can start to see what their actions have been like and what they can be responsible for. Yeah.
So yeah, it's been a tough week, though. It sounds like you've had an even rougher one.
Yeah, well, it's a perfect time to sort of segue into a tribute to Steve Lovell. Steve Lovell died this week. I don't know exactly how. He had an illness going back a couple of years ago, which I think was some kind of cancer type, liver type. You know, he was in and out of hospital, touch and go for a while, and then he was back. And if you're a keen listener to the Team Superdad podcast, Steve Lovell's conversation with me was the second ever Team Superdad podcast. So not quite as nice as Mike as this one, but a bloody good conversation. And Steve, I met him through Landmark Education. And so we were on personal development courses, you know. So in an environment like that, people are not encouraged. People discover the strength to be straight with you. You know, there's exactly like you did with your mate this week. You know, there's no value in not saying what there is to be said, but also doing it in a way that makes a difference. Right? Not just dumping someone. And Steve, he was a Scouser originally. He just had a massive heart. And then you meet him, right? And he's a painter and decorator. And then he starts talking about, oh yeah, well I used to be a punk. Yeah, I used to play guitar. Yeah, I was in a few bands. Yeah. I produced Blur's first album. Yeah, it was quite fun when they were, you know, head to head with Oasis and, you know, Park Life and all. And you kind of just like, whoa, back up. I thought you were Steve. I thought you were just like Steve. I didn't realize you'd been done all this cool stuff. And on his podcast interview conversation with me, he talks about how he got into punk and how he was on Top of the Pops and how him and, do you remember come on, not Frankie Goes to Hollywood, who sang that song? Blue jeans and chinos, go Pepsi and Oreos, Americano.
Genuinely don't know, but I'm going to find out.
He was on Top of the Pops with him in like his original band. One of the guys from Frankie
Holly Johnson.
Holly Johnson. Holly Johnson. Holly Johnson. Yeah, Steve and him were in a band together. And so you know what Facebook is like. It just came up. Like, really sorry to let you all know that Steve passed away peacefully with his family this week. And oh my gosh, you want to talk about legacy? And Dad's listening to this, right? Like, what are we on this planet for? What is our purpose? What are our values? We just mentioned it a minute ago. Like, people can get a little bit confronted by it like that. Like, oh, well, that sounds quite heavy. Like, I've got to go and do something amazing. No, Steve was just there for people. And he was there for me. And when I told him I'd proposed to my wife, he was like, I do like her. In fact, I like her a lot, but I don't think you should marry her, right? He didn't step over it. And he did like my wife. Him and his wife did so much for us when we first got together. His son, David, and my stepson, Archie, were good mates for a while whilst we lived in the same area. And he had Rachel, his wife. She has got 3 kids. So he was stepdad to three children, 2 boys and a girl, and his son David. And just, he's a Liverpool fan, so I know a lot of people on the Liverpool football front are missing him. On the punk front, on the music front, on the community front, on the just a top bloke. So he wasn't a big drinker, but kind of in honor to you as well, because I had a gin and tonic last week. So this week I've got a little, I don't even know, it might have been something that someone won at a fair, but I got given it as a gift for speaking. I don't know how much you're supposed to put in, but I've just had half of it.
Wow. Okay. This is going to be an interesting end to the podcast.
I don't know. What is a shot? I don't know.
Yeah. No, that you've just probably put in about 3 doubles there. Yeah, you're not meant to drink it by the pint. I'm gonna open. This was this is whiskey that was made for me, or certainly made for me, then kind of mixed in my name. It's based on a 1998 Speyside malt Scotch. So 98. That's what 23 years.
I was just finishing uni. It was party time in London. So mine's a 9-year-old, a dram to share. I'm sharing it with you, Glenn. So 9 years. You've like top trumped me by 98 plus 9. That's 2007 plus 14. Oh, you've top
14
trumped.
years.
No, more than that, mate.
But it's not a competition.
No, I know, but I like maybe I'm a little bit competitive about everything.
Well, I'll tell you what, if you want to get competitive in that regard, what I have here is a whiskey that was Queen Elizabeth's dad's name?
Bob.
Well, it was either like George or Edward, probably. They're all of those.
Queen Elizabeth, our current queen.
Yeah, her dad.
Her dad was George.
Okay. This is whiskey that was bottled for his coronation.
Oh.
A friend of mine who is 72, when his mum died, he found it in her house, and he doesn't like whiskey, so he gave it to me. So I'm saving this for ultra. I've had a couple of sips. I had a little bit on my 40th birthday, and I'm saving that for ultra special occasions. But you know what? This hopefully will be good enough for Steve's memory. So cheers.
It really is.
Cheers,
Cheers. Steve Lovell. If we could have, here's the shocker of COVID, right? Bollocks to COVID. I'm fed up with it. If his funeral was a normal funeral, it would literally be shut the town down type. You know, there'll be people coming from all over the world. And so I mentioned legacy a minute ago. I never really finished it off, but blimey, you know, dads listening to this, just think about like, what if it was your funeral? What do you want people to say about you? If there was something that you could make a difference in, it doesn't mean invent something to cure cancer or find out how to go to Mars. It just means make a difference in your community. Stand up for your mates when you think they've proposed to the wrong person. You know, be a great dad to 3 kids that aren't yours. Like just be Steve, basically. So yeah, much missed. And I'll tell you what else it did make me think. It made me think. There's a little bit of regret, but it's like, how many times did I see him over the last 10 years? And stuff going on. I was busy. We had the divorce. We had babies. We had miscarriages. I was depressed. We had a breakdown. We had like, and then amongst that, I didn't see an awesome bloke as much as I could. And that's what we must all remember. Is Reverend T.D. Jakes, one of a favorite line I heard of his in a video on YouTube, and it was about breakups and stuff. But it says, "Don't drown in a cup of water while she's while she's swimming in the sea." Or like, you know, one of you, another one's. And I think that goes true for reaching out to friends. No matter what's going on in your life, don't not speak to people that are otherwise awesome.
That being said, you're sitting here saying I didn't see him enough. You knew him. I never got to meet him. And so even if you didn't see him for a long time, didn't see him as much as you could have, didn't see him as much as you wanted, you got the chance to meet an awesome person. And that's incredible. And I will never have that opportunity. I'll never meet this man who has made such an impact in so many people's lives. So yes, you could have seen him more. We could all have seen many people more, but did you see him enough? Did you know him? And if you did, then I'd say remember that rather than rather than the other side of ththings.
Totally. People have their own attitudes and sort of ways of dealing with death and stuff. And my mum dying when I was a kid has given me a bit of a freer perspective on it. But one thing I say to people, just in that exact same way, Glenn, is people can be upset and yeah, fine, be upset for a while. But when it comes a point where it's just like, do you know what? They wouldn't want you to still be upset. They'd want you to be having a laugh. So let's celebrate the memories of the people we've loved and missed. Yeah, definitely. Hussa! So, but Monday night we did the conversation with men and women about what women want men to know. About
it was an
harassment.
It was an interesting discussion. It really, really was. How did you find it?
I don't profess to be, the most learned person. I'm sometimes a little bit guilty of finding out just enough information to be able to participate in a conversation, but not enough to really make a difference or influence it, or like enough to wing. Let's be honest, I know enough to wing stuff. Yeah. and I normally get by with just winging it. But you said something right at the end of it. It might even have been after it, actually. No, it was after. It was on a post in the Team Superdad group. You mentioned like the meaning of feminism. And I've been activated by the word feminism over the years, and yeah. So when you said that, I went and looked it up, and it's something it's as simple as the principle of women's rights being equal to those of men, or rights of women being equal to the other sex. So it's it's that simple.
Yeah.
It's like if you had two kids, it's the right to break a bar of chocolate in half and give each the same size piece of chocolate. It's not not battle or toxic this or win that or retribution for the past. It some of the feelings that even I'm open about this. I want to be honest and frank about it, because I think it gives other men the opportunity to see and question how they think as well. But yeah, sometimes I'm like, well, come on, chill out. We're getting there. Or like, as far as I'm concerned, I want everything to be equal or whatever. But then I get quite activated when they're really banging the drum and like, wow, men of this and men of that.
But when you say they, who are we saying?
Oh, some of the louder people on Twitter, which is a micro flipping cosm of the whole female population. Yeah, so. You're on Twitter more than me, so you probably, I dare say you.
Yeah, I am. I have an awful lot, and I am an absolute feminist, 100%. My kids are feminists. When my youngest, he was, I don't know, 4 or 5 years old, I was teaching him about equal pay, and for weeks afterwards, he would just randomly walk up to me and say, "Daddy, do you know that women do the same jobs as men, but they don't get paid as much money? That's crazy." I was like, yeah, it is mad. How is this a thing? And it is exactly that. It's purely about equality. It's saying no better, no worse. And that's all it is. It's not saying, a good person should want both genders to be upped and so on, and the quality of life for everyone to be up. But it's not saying that women should be having things better than men. Everyone wants things better, but it shouldn't be based on your gender. That's all it is. It's really, really simple. It's just about pure equality. And it works both ways. So if men are held accountable for certain actions, women should be held equally accountable, not more, not less. It is pure equality. That's all it is. But it's been hijacked by kind of the phrases like feminazis and the extremes, where there are people out there who do want women to have so much more than men, because making up for millennia of oppression and all that, which happened. But they are kind of quoted and referred to, and all feminists are referred to in the same way. And it's just not true. If you can, not you personally, if anyone can look me in the eye and convince me that two people should be treated differently based on their gender, I'll be open to the discussion, but it's rubbish.
No, I agree. It's rubbish. But I think my attitude has been too much like, well, that's obvious.
Yeah.
That's obvious. Okay, so let's just get on with it. Rather than sometimes it feels a bit angry. Other things that get up that blow my mind. It's TV programs now where the dad or the brother is just a complete mong.
The Peppa Pig sort of mindset.
Well, do you know what? I heard someone say that about Peppa Pig recently, and being a dad of two kids, 11 and 9. So they were babies in the early 2000s. I've watched every episode 50 times. I've watched hours and hours of Peppa. I love Daddy Pig. I don't think of Daddy Pig too much of a doofus, right? I think of him as just a loving dad who goes to work and get on with it. But Disney is worse for it. Nickelodeon not much, but Disney's bad for it at the moment. And it seems like at Disney there's this big push to put women at front and center. It's like we feel bad about what we've done for the last 100 years, so we're going to flip it, and we're going to put women in all the front roles, and we're going to make men look a bit stupid, which just feels a bit weird to me. It feels a bit. And I don't mind, but no one's come out and said it. No one's come out and explained it, or maybe they haven't.
The issue isn't that women are getting in the front roles; it's because men are made to look stupid in it. Now, look at any other thing. The women aren't made to look stupid. The men might be the leading characters, but the women are made to look helpless and fairy-like, and the man has to save them. Now, how do you make a man be that I need saving in some way, whether it's emotional, whether it's physical, or whatever, without him looking like an idiot? It's hard to do. But I don't think it's as imbalanced as we think, because I mean, look at panel shows, for example. Now, almost every panel show, if I see a panel show where there's more, say the normal, like, have I got news for you? Not have I got news for you? And what's the mock of the week? We got 6 panelists and the host. The host is male. Now, if there's more than 2 women on there, it becomes noticeable, because we're not used to seeing more than 2 stand-up comedians who are female. How many times have you looked at something outside of QI? QI is the only one which is properly equal in terms of gender. But outside of QI, every single panel show is male dominated to an absolute huge degree. If you saw a fully male lineup, you wouldn't even blink your eye. And so when you see a woman on there, you think, okay, well, there's a token woman, maybe 2 women, 3 women. My God, are they trying to take over? And that's just 3 out of 7 on that week. And that's just an example of what happens in every single series. So I think we're so indoctrinated to it being mostly men with a little bit of women, that whenever it's even close to being equal or the other way, then we notice it and it massively stands out.
Sport in the last 18 months, I don't listen to 5 Live much, but I listen to TalkSport, and whatever's happened at TalkSport, someone said, shit, we got to sort this out. And they just rolled in a load of women. And it was weird to start with. And I don't mean weird like bad. I mean, like, it was just exactly as you said. It was noticeably off. It was noticeably weird. Like suddenly you've got a woman's voice commentating. You're like, hang on a minute, where's the bloke? It's weird. We'll have a woman commentating.
But that's the thing in the football. In the old days, in the Women's World Cup, you'd have someone like, and it wasn't him, but Gary Lineker. Then you'd have an Alan Shearer and an Ian Wright, and then maybe every now and then you'd have an Alex Scott might come on. But mostly it was men, because men are the experts in this. And it's women's football, but you'd have male commentators, male referees, and all that sort of stuff. Can you ever imagine a world where you've got Kelly Coates being the anchor, and then you've got Alex Scott and Alex Morgan as the experts commentating on Man United versus Liverpool men's game? The gammon mind would explode. But actually, these are football experts talking about football. Just because they happen to have ovaries doesn't mean they're any worse. They're probably better qualified than some of the pundits. I mean, I would rather listen to Alex Scott talk, even though she's a gooner, than Danny Mills or Danny Murphy. Danny Murphy's, he won a couple of England caps and played football for a long time. Alex Scott is a bona fide England and a domestic football legend who knows the game inside and out. But she happens to be a woman. So what? Who gives a damn? If she's saying the right things, get her on. But we notice it.
It takes a while to get you, like a new pair of shoes, isn't it? If you look down, you don't recognize the shoes. They feel a bit weird to walk in, and after and then slowly but surely they suddenly become just normal, but like just normal. They're just comfortable, and it's okay.
Compare a lineup these days where you've got Alex Scott, you've got Micah Richards, and so on, because it was also there was the whole race side of things as well, has happened over the last year or two. But then. Compare that to 3 or 4 years ago, when basically it was Matt Letizia, Paul Merson, I don't know, just name generic white old man, and that was it. And Charlie Nicholas, and they would just sit there, just faffing about, not actually doing anything good, but they're legends, so it's okay. And now
of the players in the Premier League are probably black or of some black community kind of background, or racial background. No, so it's all good. And but oh god, we've strayed totally off from the conversation.
yeah.
Monday night's podcast with Liz and Joe. But yeah, this is the same subject though. Really, it's what we accept as normal when it isn't actually okay that's normal, and grabbing women's asses, wolf whistling them, rubbing past them in the pub as some kind of way to let them know that you're attracted to them, but it's actually really pervy and intimidating, let alone scary. These were some of the points that came up during the conversation with Joe and Liz. So
like we were saying, it's not about whether you do it. It's about, if you don't do it, brilliant. But I tell you what, if you don't do it, somebody who does. And if you see him do it, call them out on it. It doesn't have to be actually rubbing themselves up against someone. It can be a comment, a look, something where they're doing something which is going to intimidate someone. Just say, mate, you don't do that. And if we keep calling it out, then it will change. Yeah,
because it's one thing to go up and offer a chat someone out, offer to buy them a drink and that sort of stuff. But we've all seen it where it's, and I'm not very good at it. I don't know if this is a good or bad thing, but I don't have quite enough confidence around the whole chatting up thing. But then the flip side of that is where people have too much confidence, and their idea of chatting up is, let's go and leer over these two birds and basically make inappropriate comments to them, laugh to each other whilst they're sitting there feeling quite uncomfortable, make a crude proposition to them. If they say yes or no, we don't really care anyway, because you get to laugh at them and then bowl your mates and go, oh yeah, check out, yeah, do you see what I did to those two?
And those women won't remember 1,000 of you, but they will remember one of them.
Yeah.
But it doesn't actually sound like you need to be going out on the pull at the moment. Sounds like you might be fully falling into the G spot.
So we called today's episode "Back in the Game" because I do seem to have found myself kind of back in the game. I'm gonna definitely be very appropriate in this conversation, but I do want to share it because it's been 5.5 years since I split up, but that also means 5.5 years since I've had sex. 5.5 years to anything, basically. I did have a few dates and a snog last autumn, but it's the curious thing is I've got a vision board in front of me, and I wrote on this vision board what I wanted from an ideal partner, right? And I'm not saying this woman is the perfect partner. I'm not saying I'm falling in love. I'm trying to manage my whole emotions about it. But at 46, I think it's okay. And I did get some flack about this when I shared my vision board on Facebook. I think it's okay to be really clear about what we do and don't want out of a relationship. And so it says on there, right, I'll read it out. It goes, healthy music, not healthy music, but these are like bullet points, right? Healthy, into music, dance, funk, house, gigs, festivals, fitness, runner, competitive, funny, confident, generous, 5'6" to 5'10", slim, positive attitude, spiritual, Christian faith, skier, and then in capitals, no drama. No drama. So when I shared this on Facebook a couple of years ago, one woman went absolutely mental at me. I think we talked about this last week, didn't we, on the podcast? I think we did, didn't we?
No, I don't know if we covered this bit.
She goes, I'm 5'5", an atheist, and I hate the snow, so that counts me out. And I was like, well, yeah, it does. Like, no biggie. I think, I know you since school, like, you're an all right woman, like, fun girl, like, but that wasn't really the point. I'm 46 years old. I've had relationships that didn't work, and I probably wasn't clear enough about what I did and didn't want. And that's how I found myself in relationships that were painfully wrong, basically. So yeah, this woman is of course you're going to say she's awesome. Otherwise, why would you be having a a sixth date with someone if they weren't flipping awesome. But it's also really weird. Like just touch, even hugs. We laughed and joked the other week about when I was cooking her dinner and I felt like Del Boy, kind of like, all right, darling, come in. I've got meat and 2 veg on the go, you know. But yeah, I tried to bring up the conversation about like what I want, what I don't want, you know, the other day on a walk, and it was awfully clumsy and it didn't really land. So I put it in a long text, which, you know, which she really appreciated. She was like, "Oh, that's amazing that you've said that." Whereas it did feel a bit weird. Like, I'm going to say things here that could put an end to this, but it's probably better that it puts an end to it before it starts. Or someone says, "Oh, wow, that's exactly, first of all, amazing that you said that. Second of all, actually, I'm really on board. That sounds brilliant."
That sounds ideal. I mean, I've had those conversations in the past where a woman said, "What are you looking for? What's your ideal woman?" And I've said, with all the caveats, I'm pretty fucking good at caveating here and saying, look, this is not the only woman that I would ever date. However, this is the sort of woman that I would absolutely love to date. And you go into a whole world of things, but all they hear is, I'm not this, therefore this isn't going to work. So, well, no, okay, if you're not that, that's fine. That's not a deal breaker. I have got deal breakers, but none of the things that I'm mentioning here are anything to do with deal breakers. And yeah, people can get quite hung up on what they do and don't want and miss out on a whole world of opportunity that would be fantastic.
Yeah, I wonder if those kind of people haven't been through a heartbreak. They're still in the mindset of anyone could love me. I'm going to. In fact, I've probably been guilty of this. I'm going to turn this into the perfect relationship. She's so blessed to be with me. I'm going to fix this. I'm going to make it perfect. And that's ridiculous. That's never going to, it's like marrying a vegetarian. Like, oh, well, she'll change. She'll change.
I mean, that is one of those things I would really struggle. I know I'd really struggle with a vegan, because I'm definitely not that. And I know I would feel awkward about it. I would struggle with someone who didn't drink or was highly religious, or who was a massive fan of Brexit. You know, there are things about my mindset and values and so on. And I was on telly. I got about debating Brexit with some Tory, I can't remember his name, on Good Morning Britain. And I got the amount of hate mail and abuse that I got, and they wrote articles in the Daily Mail about me. But I know my value.
Conversation.
Sorry?
You were in the conversation, or you just happened to tweet about it?
No, I was on telly. I've been on telly.
Oh, yeah,
brilliant. So this was my first time on, what's the one with Piers Morgan? Is that Good Morning Britain?
TV, yeah, he's gone now.
Whatever that one was. But yeah, the Daily Mail ran pieces on me, and the only bit of abuse that really hurt me was someone called me scruffy. I said, fuck off. You know, I'll be called a lot. You can disagree. I was not scruffy. But I know my values. I know these are things that are deal breakers, because I know I couldn't shut up about them. I wouldn't be able to let that lie. And I know it would cause arguments, and I don't want arguments. But most things, if you know what, even as a Spurs fan, if my missus was a gooner, I wouldn't particularly like it, but that would add a certain frisson to the relationship. Yeah. It would be great. It would be really funny.
Yeah, if she loves football. It's a funny story. Very close friends of ours, David and Jane. When David, D-Mac, when they got together, Jane was actually a gooner, and he converted her.
Oh, good man.
What a story.
There's one more of us and one less of them.
What a happy ending that is, eh? That's oh man. Yeah, so flipping brilliant. But I just want to say to dads, right? It's weird, you know? Getting naked. I'm like, hello, you know, like kind of, whoa, I'm naked. She's naked.
But it's because it's more than touch. And it's out. I may be way off piste here, so tell me if this is bollocks. But holding someone, touching someone, kissing someone is one thing. But when, for example, this bit of naked skin is touching their bit of naked skin, that's different. That feels different because, as much as I love you, Johnny, that bit of naked skin on me is probably never going to touch that bit of naked skin on you. And it's only with someone you're intimate with and you're comfortable and that you touch and hold in a way that is different. It just connects you in a different way, and it does feel exciting. And I'm really excited for you, man. This is absolutely awesome.
But
I'm also quite pissed off that that you've been naked with a woman more recently than I have. I mean, how the fuck has that happened?
Because it's on my vision board. I wrote that nearly 3 years ago. And I've been writing it in my goals, in my journal, consistently. I'm not going to fall in love right now, but with a beautiful, fun, fit, attractive, confident, generous, tactile, loving. We laugh, play, and plan our goals together. That's what goes in my thing. So the reason I'm sharing this, right, just to be clear for people, is I'm not trying to like flipping kiss and tell. I'm trying to share this with other dads because if you've been single, just rushing around trying to find someone. I've read a stat, because I did actually look it up. Second marriages have a worse success rate than flipping first marriages.
First marriages are 50-50.
Obviously, I'm sure this is one flipping stat.
Sorry, I should now already be looking for my third marriage.
You haven't had two, have you?
No, I haven't. I've only had one. But if you're saying the second marriage is going to fail already, then you know what? Let's plan ahead.
No, second marriage failure rate. No, I think. Oh, here we go. Yeah, bad news. Divorced couples who marry for the second time have only a 31% chance of their marriage ending in divorce.
Well, that's better then. Well, that's all right.
No, but it doesn't. Okay, no, it's just straight away. Second article is second marriages are more likely to end in divorce. Here's why. Yeah, so there we go. Depending on who you ask, it's either going to be better or worse.
Well, that's cleared it up nicely then, hasn't it?
That's a Murray Walker. That's a Murray Walker quote, if ever there was one. Oh, we can tell it's either going to be good or bad.
I'm looking forward to there must be. I'm looking forward to the F1 tomorrow. There's going to be loads of Murray Walker references in the F1 tomorrow. Can't wait.
I saw on, I don't know whose steering wheel it was, in the
Williams.
In the Willie. Oh, cool. Yeah. So in the practice runs today, in the times, they had some Murray Walkerisms on their steering wheels.
Oh, and on the halo as well.
On the halos,
Yeah, I'm going to have to stop talking because there's a lump in my throat, and that just it's going to be bittersweet. And it's weird because at the end of the day, we was talking about death earlier. He wasn't a young man. Everyone dies. Everybody dies. Everybody dies twice. Once when they physically die, and once when someone mentions their name for the last time. Now, Murray Walker has died his first time. He's going to be living on and on and on for a long, long time to come.
You know why that's true? He retired 20 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
He last commentated 20 years ago.
Yet he's still the voice of F1.
I would have said 5 years, 6 years. Yeah, I'd have said no. He retired a while ago. It's got to be at least 5 or 6 years.
No, Crofty's been doing it for a long time.
20 years ago he retired.
But he's incredible, and he loved it. He was a fan who happened to be there, and he was someone who really got into it, and he would have loved how this season's going to go. This season is going to be epic. It's going to be so good. The McLaren said they were right up there. Mercedes have backed down a little bit. The Red Bulls are going to be on fire as well. I tell you, I am more because the longer a set of regulations are stable, the closer things get. Also, they've introduced like a what's it called when in the American sports, when a draft system. So the further down the field you get, the more development credits you're allowed to bring you closer to the front. There's so many little changes to the rules and regulations, even before next year. Next year's a game changer, but this year is a bonus year where all the cars are not just where they were before, but they can keep going and getting closer and closer.
You know that drinking game where you have to run and put your head on the broom?
On a broom, yeah.
Do like 10 times around the broom. If you get too far in the lead, you have to come in,
do some donuts,
get out of the car, put your head on a broom, do 10 times around the broom, and then get back in the car and drive out. That's genius.
Well, that's the thing. This year, no one's gonna walk away with it. It's gonna be brilliant. This is heaven for me, because this is also, as a Spurs fan, as an England fan with the rugby and the cricket and the football and all that these days. F1 is the only sport, because it's not a traditional team. I can't lose. I just enjoy the whole thing. And so it doesn't matter who wins, doesn't matter what happens. There's stories, there's drama, there's everything. I can't lose. I'll enjoy it no matter what. And unlike the football where I end up losing in the 93rd minute.
Yeah. And if it is closer and Hamilton still wins,
he probably will. The Mercedes at least will be one of the best cars, and he is in the top 2, maybe 3 drivers in the world, full stop, in equal cars. Only Verstappen, maybe Alonso, and on an exceptionally good day, if his confidence is up, Vettel can hold the torch to him. There's other drivers who will be up to that level. Lando Norris will be up there. George Williams will be up there. There's drivers who are on their way up. Ricardo is absolutely superb as well, and even on his day, Raikkonen, if you can be bothered. But there are 2 or 3 drivers who are superb, world-class drivers, and their cars are getting closer, and it's exciting. And Hamilton will probably win, but that's fine, because he is the greatest driver of all time, who would beat just about every other driver over the course of a season. And that's wonderful to do.
They could do one of those Rocky 6 simulators where they put all the old drivers in. We were going to do this, Glenn, actually, right? We were struggling for Hot in the 90s. We weren't struggling. We were just coming up with some random ideas. Hot in the 90s, we're going to bring up 90s F1 drivers. And our podcast listeners, I know you hate this bit, but we'll include you in. Imagine you're blind. We're going to describe this next section for you. Can we make jokes about being blind? Is that okay? What have I done?
Yeah, absolutely.
90s F1 drivers. Yeah, we are inclusive. We'll take the piss out of everyone.
This is in the name of F1 coming back, and it's in the name of Murray Walker and all that sort of stuff. So this is relevant.
Hot in the 90s, right? F1 drivers. And to be clear, right, if you are racing a 180 miles an hour around a track, if you are sponsored up to the nines, if you have got £1 million in the bank, then you've got a lot of credits. You can a big nose won't seem quite so big when you've got £1 million and a villa in what's it called, Monte Carlo.
Because it's so much about attraction and sexiness is confidence, and you can't, just like you can't blow a timid trumpet, you cannot be a timid racing car driver. So every one of these guys has an arrogance, a confidence, a style, a swagger that is fucking magnetic. And so even if Ayrton Senna, look at him in general, and he's not super good looking. But even that photo you put up there, where he's just, he looks like a weird Jimmy White, doesn't he? He's not a sexy fella, but put him in a racing suit and get him on race day, and there's this look in his eyes. It's like, fuck you, I am amazing. You deserve. I don't know if you deserve my time and attention. And I'll tell you what, that is sexy as fuck.
Yeah. What about surely? Was Mario Kart, not Mario Kart, but was
Nigel Mansell?
Mario Brothers around when Nigel Mansell had that mustache.
It was indeed. He was just on that overlap, and I think that was brought into it. Mansell. I was saying about sexy. Mansell is not. He's not in any way, shape, or form hot. He's the sort of person you'd expect to bump into him in your dad's garage when they're repairing an old Rover. He hasn't got that certain, as the French say, I don't know what.
Je ne sais quoi. Yeah, his fame and money and racing driver lifestyle nudged him from a 3 to a 4 on the hot list.
Whereas the man next to him on your screen there, Mika Häkkinen, oh man, that is a cool man. Typical fucking Viking, I gotta say. Thick neck, blonde hair, kind of quiffed over in a 90s thing, got kind of a boyish charm about him, and a sort of confidence without arrogance. Schumacher had arrogance. He was purely arrogant, but that was fine because he was one of the greatest drivers of all time. But Häkkinen was better than him for a couple of years, and that's incredible.
Because of car or because of driving skills?
Both. He was in an equal car. But he had a very different driving style, and just for a couple of years, he just topped out and just beat him on pure talent.
Here's Schumacher. It's hard to make jokes about Schumacher because he's not even disabled, is he?
No, we don't know. His family won't release any information. We can kind of posit that he is a vegetable.
Basketball. We do know he's not playing basketball, don't we?
No, but his son is driving this year. You do know that, don't you?
But look at Ayrton. No, sorry, look at Schumacher. He's very tall. Is he like a really tall bloke?
No, I don't think he was actually. Let me find out. But yeah, again, he's not a looker. He's just someone who he's got that arrogance, that confidence. For him, it was arrogance. It was never just confidence.
Here's what we should do, right? F1 drivers' wives. That's surely the measure.
That's objectification. Sure. So he was 172 centimeters. I don't know what that is in feet and inches, but it's not tall. I know I'm about 180 and I'm 6 foot, so he wasn't tall at all. So 5'8". 5'8". That's all he was.
I think we've got for me. I think Ayrton Senna was the. It could be the Icelander, the what's he called?
We glossed over Alain Prost, who's got that Gallic charm, but I think that
enormous nose.
It is. It was. That was an aerodynamic nose, if nothing else.
No.
Jacques Villeneuve. He was in the 90s. David Coulthard, massive chin.
Okay, so plenty of. It's like we can have a bit of male totty in here because we've got the sport angle.
I've got to say, in my opinion, any man who can't appreciate the beauty of a good-looking man is not secure in his own sexuality. You should be able to look and say, you know what, that is a good-looking man.
We did discuss this when we mentioned Ryland the other week. So there we go, chaps. There's our hot in the 90s. You may have your own favourite F1 driver from the 90s, but F1 women drivers. We're going to get one, do you reckon? I absolutely caned it at Cheltenham on the subject of women doing amazing. I don't know if you're a big...
I'm not into the horses.
In the Gold Cup, which is like flipping second in the biggest race after, well, some would say before the Grand National. Yeah, she won. She won 4 or 5 races at the Cheltenham at the Gold Cup.
I don't understand horse racing. I know this for a fact. I don't understand the skill or the talent, because as far as I'm concerned, you get a little person on there and they kind of ride and then they whip the horse and the horse runs fast. The horse does the work.
Okay, we just need a weird jockey.
All you got to know is at what point do you whip the horse? And if the horse is good enough, it runs faster. Whereas F1, there's so much more to it. And yes, we definitely will have a female F1 driver. The reason we haven't had her so far isn't because of so much. Yes, there are some kind of physicality involved in it. F1 is despite what people say, it's one of the most physically demanding sports on the planet. It's huge. And so men are physically built differently. That's not up for debate. It's true.
How much G force is round a corner?
Yeah. Then their necks are wider than my thighs. But women could
that measure could be a great F1 driver.
Yeah, only thighs. But women, the reason they've not got into the sport isn't because of that. It's because they haven't had the support and the opportunity to get into the racing. But they haven't had. They haven't been
same as bank drivers. There's no route to the top at the moment.
They haven't been supported and encouraged at karting level upwards, and so we don't know that there is the W Series now, and that's providing more light on the subject. And it's gonna take too long, but it's on the way. It's just not quick enough. But yeah, for the time being, I can't see. There's no F1. Sorry, there's no W Series or lower grade racing drivers who are female that I'm aware of that are looking like what they're going to be F1.
But in the 80s, there was a French woman who was a rally driver, and she competed at the very top in the World Rally Championships.
Yeah, and there have been there've been women on testing weekends. I mean, hell, Toto Wolff's wife Susie, she was pretty sharp. Let me be clear. She would beat me in a race. I'm not even going close to it. She was lightning sharp. Probably. And there was another, and I forget her name. I think she was Spanish driver who was killed on the racetrack as well in testing one a few years ago. So there are women who are kind of getting to the testing stages. They're just not getting the not just getting the opportunity. These women weren't quick enough. That doesn't mean they couldn't have been, but they came into it too late, and it just wasn't going to work for them.
I'll tell you what, we will big up Michèle Mouton, French rally driver, competed in the World Rally Championship for the Audi factory team. She took 4 World Rally race victories and finished runner-up in the Drivers' World Championship in 1982.
Mm-hmm.
That is a badass French woman. I've got to be honest. When you talk about top of the game, French women, we knew a woman. She was our ski instructor in Les Arcs. Her name was Poun Begoin, and she had the world record for like speed skiing for the Flying K. She did over 100 kilometers on a monoski. This woman was tough.
No, she'd have had thighs. You don't get speed skating unless you've got muscle.
Well, that's like jockeys. You got to crouch down and they go around. It's not hard work being a jockey. Come on.
I'll tell you, one of my ambitions actually is to go and follow the F1 to every continent we race on. So going to the Middle East, going to Asia, to go to Australia, to go to Rio, to go to North America. Trouble is, I don't think I'm going to do it this year. I don't think I'm going to get abroad and get out on my summer holidays anytime soon.
Well, that's kind of the last on our running order, Glenn. Our summer holidays on or off this year? We got Boris or June. You can't go anywhere. If you leave the country, you're going to get a £5,000 fine. Ooh. Someone joked on the Tinternet this week that was still cheaper than going on a Centre Parks holiday.
Yeah, it's still the new stuff.
How do they get away with it, Centre Parks?
The thing is, I do want to go. I want to go away. But not just with the kids. I just want to do a sea break. I just want to get out of the country for my own mental sanity. I've not left the country since 2019. I went to Dublin for the weekend. That was the last time I went abroad. And I'm not saying I'm hugely traveled, but somehow I've managed to get away a few times every year. And last year, the furthest I got was Ely. Well, I went to Manchester for a weekend, but that was pre-lockdown. And then in between lockdowns, a friend of mine, he was doing some genealogy stuff, and he booked a little cottage in the middle of Cambridgeshire and said, look, do you want to come and just stay in one of the spare rooms? You can work during the day. He'll go off and do his family history, and then we'll just eat and drink all night. And we was just in the middle of a field in the middle of Cambridgeshire, and it was lovely, but not exactly luxurious or exotic.
No. I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. I'm pretty much thinking about booking a caravan again, like we did last year, basically, because we did get away and it was fun. It was fun.
Yeah, I got to Wales last year with the kids. I ever since the divorce, I've wanted the kids to have something they didn't have before. And so the first year we did a road trip around the UK. Just literally just go. I'd say, where do you want to go next? And they'd say, Stonehenge. So we'd drive to Stonehenge. Where do you want to go next? Chocky Wocky Doodars. So we'd drive to Brighton. Where do you want to go next? I don't know, up a mountain. So we'd drive to Wales. And that was the first year. And then the second year we went to Croatia, and also popped over to Venice. And I took them to, what's the one north of that? Serbia or something. I don't know. I can't remember which one. Slovakia. And then the third year I went to Greece and popped over to Albania as well. And I was thinking every year, let's try and go away. And last year, all I could manage was a caravan in Wales. But it was a holiday, and my kids haven't really had holidays before divorce. So that was all I could manage. That's what we'll do. This year, anything at all. I would even go to Butlins, Bognor Regis.
I'm going to Bognor Regis for my birthday weekend.
Are you really?
It's called the Bun Holiday Park.
When's your birthday, Johnny?
May 12th, coming up.
May the 12th. That's not far.
Yeah. And well, we will be able to have a drink in Westmorland.
I cannot wait for that. You're only a couple of miles away as the crow flies.
Yeah, I can ride my bike and do like a comedy journey home.
Hey, hell, one day, maybe, not even trying to count chicken until it's deep fried and in a bucket in front of me. One day, maybe I can third wheel on one of your dates.
No,
yeah, I'm not going to say double dating.
Dad has only got to pop a tweet out, and surely there's a line of women at the front door.
They're not. You'd be surprised. And even if those who would respond, I'm sure are not women that maybe I would want to be double dating with.
Okay. Well,
that being said, if you are a sexy woman, then yeah, call me. Yeah, call me.
A, you can third wheel. B, surely there's definitely prospective women out there who are going to be just flipping busting to get out and go to the Swan in Westmorland.
Hopefully some of those second and third and fourth marriages would have failed over lockdown. Yeah, exactly. And this is going to be the start of the next roaring 20s.
You're very attractive, but can I just check? Is his first, second, or third? Like, if it's fourth marriage, then definitely you're in. It's completely like devoid of all emotion. She's like, here's my checklist. Read it. You need 4 out of 5, otherwise it's off, or the deal's off.
I like on Guess Who.
Yeah.
Does he look emotionally stunted? No. Does he look like he's going to bundle me in the back of a van? No. And in that case, you know what? The rest of it is fine.
Absolutely brilliant. Well, Glenn, good to hang out with you. The wrap up. I hope everyone's enjoyed it. We're here every week, and this is when I was in a hole. Right, I listened to podcasts a lot, and I know a lot of, for men driving home, salespeople, people who commute, people who get up early and work. You got single dads who are at home on their own sometimes and feeling a bit like fed up that they're on their own. The wrap up, Glen and I's intention is to just basically, well, we enjoy it because we're just hanging out. So that's kind of what we're up to. And we'll be one of those overnight success one night, Glenn. We'll say something awfully inappropriate and it will go viral, and then that's how we're going to become famous. Did you hear what that Johnny Jensen said?
I'll tell you what, that'll be the thing that's said at my funeral. If he hadn't said those words, he'd still be alive today.
It was going so well. ... But anyway, please share this. Give us a like, review. Of course, subscribe. You might be watching this on YouTube or Facebook or LinkedIn. But also definitely subscribe to the podcast. And we look forward to seeing you next week. Glenn, take care, buddy. Team Superdad out. Bye.
This has been Team Superdad. Find us at teamsuperdad.com. Join the program and create the best life ever for you and your children. You are not alone. You're on Team Super Dad.